What up, what up? You are now listening to Once Upon 785, the dopest podcast in the Midwest. I'm your host, Georgie350. Let's get into it. Bitch. What up? And welcome to episode number 13, the finale, and the craziest day I ever had at work. All right, so today's date is April 11th, 2023. The time is known by only me. And this is going to be the finale for season 1. Because fuck it. Start of season 2. It's been crazy lately. I got fired for TikTok videos. In case you were wondering why maybe I haven't been putting out some episodes. That's one reason. But then I did get another job. And it's been meh. So it is what it is. But I got fired for TikTok videos about shitty welds. So if you would like to see those videos, head on over to my TikTok at Georgie350. The title of the videos should be These Motherfuckers Don't Know Shit About Welding. And yeah, basically I called out shitty welds. And if you have listened to my previous episodes, I had a douchebag of the week. Na bitch boy. And yeah, bitch boy, he helped play a part in showing important people my TikTok. So, fuck you, bitch boy. But it's all good. The other pastures come with bigger paychecks, but work is work. So I'm not salty about it. It is what it is. But it has been a transition. I don't know. Life's been pretty good. Pretty hectic. But pretty good. Pretty chill. Pretty everything. 2023, holy fuck. It's unbelievable. I want to get to where I'm doing videos, but I tried a couple tonight. Wasn't feeling it. So you get the good old audio. Either way, you're welcome. But I would like to say, if you are listening, I appreciate you. And if you enjoy the podcast, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and give us a like on whatever platform you listen on. But don't feel obligated. It just does help the algorithm. So we can get more badass people listening to the podcast. But I mean, shit, it's fucking April. My birthday's done past. Fucking Easter just happened. It's been wild. This year is blowing by. It's like it wasn't even that long ago. It was 2022. Now we're getting ready to be in summertime, 2023. And random fun fact, I may or may not be addicted to tanning at a tanning salon. Judge me if you want, motherfuckers. At least I'm darker than you. That was random as fuck, so my apologies. But I mean, this is my podcast, so fuck you if you don't like it. I talk about what I want, bitch. We're going to take a quick break and hear some messages from our sponsors. We'll be right back. Bitch. What up? Georgie350 here. And if you know me, you know one thing I love is style. I love clothes. All different types of clothes. I went through so many different phases. And I'm also about positive messages, positive habits. So, if you want to roll up both those things into one, so if you want to combine those two into one, you get Habits New York. They used to be Habits 365. They support Habits 365 is a streetwear apparel brand that's all about promoting positive habits. They started out as Habits 365, but they knew they wanted to take it further and make an even bigger impact. Their vision was to create a streetwear brand that combines edgy style with a meaningful message. They believe habits play a crucial role in shaping our success and happiness, and they want to spread that message through fashion. That's why they started Habits New York, to make a difference in the world by promoting positivity and self-improvement. All their designs are crafted in-house using high-quality materials and the latest styles. They're all about individuality and self-improvement, and they want their clothes to serve as a daily reminder for their customers to adopt positive habits and strive for success. And so, if you think that's something you might be interested in, you should definitely go check them out. I'll leave a link in the description. Click the link. It should already have the promo code hooked up, but if it doesn't, just go ahead, use promo code Georgie350 to get 15% off your order. Once again, that's Habits New York. Check them out on Instagram. And when you go look at their clothes and check out, use promo code Georgie350. That's GEORGEE 350. Yay! Before we get into this episode, here's a brief message from your host, me, Georgie350. Bitch. Okay, so I know it says that the date was April 11th. Yeah, it is now May fucking 17th, so I apologize. If this episode sounds kind of weird to you, it's because I originally recorded it on the Wisdom app. That's Wisdom. And it's an app where pretty much you spit some wisdom and you can make money. They call it Mentor Coins. I'll go ahead and I'll link my invite code in the description. Go check it out. And follow me on the Wisdom app. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. Back to the episode. Bitch. What up, what up? and welcome back to another episode of Once Upon a 785, where we bring you some of the craziest stories from the Midwest of America. I'm your host, Georgie350, and today we're going to talk about one of the darkest days in Heston, Kansas's history, the workplace shooting that happened on February 25th, 2016. Okay, so the shooting took place at Excel Industries plant in Heston, where I was working that day. It was a typical day at work, just like any other, until everything changed in an instant. At around 5 p.m., a 38-year-old man named Cedric Ford, who worked at the plant, I've only seen him maybe one time that I can remember, but anyway, he started shooting at his coworkers, everybody. He had no specific target. Scarface spraying. It was insane. He was armed with an assault rifle and a pistol, which he had legally purchased just a few weeks prior, even though he was a convicted felon. And altogether, the shooting lasted about 26 minutes before he was shot and killed by a police officer who went in with no idea what the building looked like on the inside, had never been inside, and went in with no backup. In those 26 minutes, Ford had killed 3 people and injured 14 others. It was fucking insane. The 3 victims who lost their lives were identified as Renee Benjamin, Joshua Higbee, and Brian Sadowski. I knew Josh Higbee. He was a good dude. I hung out with him on break sometimes. He's a great guy. Single father, raising his kid on his own. He did not deserve to die. None of them deserved to die, but I only knew Josh Higbee personally. I had 2 other friends that got shot that day. I had a supervisor get shot. There was people I knew personally, on a personal level, that got shot. It was the craziest day of work I've ever had in my life. And may they all rest in peace. The shooting sent shockwaves through the town of Heston and the entire country. It was just another reminder of how your life can change in an instant, And I mean, me working that day personally just made it even crazier. I used to always think, what would I do if, dinosaurs came back and I'm at work? What the fuck would I do? Or what would I do if someone came in with a gun and started shooting, Everybody likes to think that they would be the hero. But that's not always the case. I always thought, I'd fucking do some crazy shit and get the gun and be the hero. Fuck that. I ran as fast as I could. And I got the fuck away from there. And I mean, yeah, I was just working, I was running the robotic welder. I had headphones in, so, I couldn't hear shit but my music. And one of the guys on my line came up and tapped on my shoulder and said, "Hey man, we gotta go." And so without hesitation, I fucking just, with my welding helmet still on, took off running. And it wasn't until I got outside the doors that I heard the gunshots. And there was people laying in the ditch, bleeding out, that had been shot. I mean, people died. It was fucking horrible. So, to go into more detail on what had happened, Cedric Ford had got issued a no contact order at work. I'm not sure if it was from an ex-girlfriend or whatnot, but the police came, issued him that no contact order, and we were working second shift. So I think we worked like 3:30 to 2 in the morning.
and I was living in Wichita, Kansas at the time. And we went on break. We had like 3 10-minute breaks throughout the workday and a 30-minute lunch. But this was just our first break. And he goes back to his house in Newton while we're on break. Mind you, we only have 10-minute breaks, so we're already back inside working. As he's on his way back, he went home, got the assault rifle, got the pistol, and was driving back to Heston from Newton, and shot somebody that was driving a car, stole their car, left his on the side of the road, pulls up to work at Excel, and I'm not for sure if he shot at anybody in the parking lot, but he walked right up in the building with a fucking assault rifle and a pistol like it was no big deal. And yeah, I mean, within 26 minutes, he killed 3 people, injured 14, and he was the 4th and final person to die. But I mean, this building that we were in is huge. There was over 200 employees in the building at the time of the shooting. I mean, it's insanity. And one of the people that worked on my line, his name was Jeff. My supervisor asked me if I wanted Jeff on my line that day or if I wanted him to go down to this other line. And I was like, fuck it. Send Jeff to the other line. Well, that line that he got sent to is the line where Josh died. My friend DJ got shot and Jeff got shot. So, that it sucks that I was the one that made the call to send him to that line and then he ends up getting shot. But I mean, that guy was going to come in and do what he was going to do no matter what. So I'm just thankful that more people didn't get hurt and that I actually made it out of that place. Because after Cedric got shot by the cop, we were shut down for over a month. I mean, this was an open crime scene. It was under investigation from the ATF, the DEA, the KBI, the FBI. I mean, I left my vape inside, my cigarettes, my lunchbox, and we couldn't go back in and get it because it was an open crime scene. There was fucking dead bodies in the building, and it still is probably one of my most favorite places I've ever worked because I continued to work there after the shooting, after everything. We were off for a month, and this place was so legit. They gave us paid time off. They paid us the whole time we were shut down, 40 hours a week plus 10 hours of overtime on Friday for the whole month. And they paid that for first and second shift people. So that's a fucking shitload of money. But come to find out, when they did the autopsy on the shooter, it came out that he had alcohol and methamphetamine in his system at the time of the shooting. So after we all come back to work, some people, they never came back to work. They just said, fuck it. They were too traumatized. But they started doing hair follicle drug tests. And let me tell you, 200 people, over 200 people in 2 days, either lost their job due to a failed hair follicle drug test, or they straight up refused to take the hair follicle test. I had a friend that we would take turns driving to work, and I'd rode with him that day, and he came up to me and he was like, hey man, you're gonna have to find fucking way home. He was like, they fucking came and hit me with a hair follicle test, and I told him, fuck that, and I quit. I was like, what the fuck? Okay, man, I guess, see you later. But I made it through everything. I never got hair follicled. I continued to work there. I put in a 2-week notice, and I ended up moving back to a different part of the state of Kansas. And so, yeah, that was what life was like for me after living through a shooting. I mean, I don't have no PTSD, I would say. That's a lie. I have a little bit. There's times when I still weld where I'm at work, and there will be some noise that sounds kind of like a gunshot, and my heart will just drop. And then I realize that everything's cool. I got to worry about nothing. But that's actually the second time I lived through a shooting. I think it was in 2012 at the 420 festival in Denver at where the courthouse is in Denver. They have the 420 fest every year. There was a shooting there too. And I was there, and I was just chilling, like everybody was doing if they were at the park on 420 that year. I mean, it was crazy. It was so hazy. There were so many people. It was such a blast. And then out of nowhere, you just hear pop, pop. And it was just like, I seen like a wave of people just fucking running towards me. And I was like, oh shit, we gotta fucking go. And I just ran a little bit, hid behind something, and people just fucking stampeded out that place. And then we got the fuck about that motherfucker. So, I mean, that was the first time I lived through a shooting. The second time was definitely way more traumatic, way more intense. It was definitely scarier. Because, I mean, I knew people that got shot. I knew people that died. I mean, everybody deals with trauma different. And I just try to look at the positive. Like, I made it. I'm still safe. Um, but, it does suck to think about all the people that didn't make it, the people that got shot, people that had to be in wheelchairs because they fucking got shot in the leg. I mean, there was a supervisor that he got shot in the arm, in the chest, in the stomach, in the legs. I mean, he was one of the first motherfuckers back to work. Got shot 4 times and was back to work like it was no big deal. I mean, it was insane. But, I mean, I hate when I say like and but a bunch of times, but it's my bad. One thing I know is that no matter what you go through, you can't let shit hinder you and hold you back. There was people that didn't come back to work because it was too traumatic. They couldn't come back in the building. And, I'll get that. But there was people on first shift that was trying to say they had PTSD, and they weren't even in the building when it happened. They weren't even at work. I mean, I was in the building. Second shift people were in the building. We heard the gunshots. We seen the people get shot. And, I mean, never say never, because the job I have now, because when I worked there, I got interviewed by the news, and they asked me, were you trained on what to do in this type of situation? And I was like, fuck no. I mean, who really at their job has been trained on what to do if there's a shooting? Everybody's like, that shit ain't gonna happen here. Heston's a small ass tiny little town. Like, tiny. Let's see how tiny. Hey Google, how many people live in Heston, Kansas?
In 2021, the population of Heston was 3,495.
Yeah, so 3,000 people, you know. I mean, that's not much considering, that's a lot considering I come from a town of like 90 people. But nobody thinks, they're like, oh, that would never happen here. Yeah, I thought that too, until it did. And I had a job up in Nebraska, and they talked about what to do if someone came in with a gun. And I was like, damn, this is crazy, you know? I feel like it kind of started a chain reaction to a lot of places over the country that, you know, we should be prepared on what to do if someone comes in with a gun and tries to shoot the place up. Because at the job I have currently, they legit, the guy that gave us our like orientation or whatever, he was there at the Batman movie in Aurora, Colorado, when that guy shot up the movie theater. He was in the theater watching that movie when it happened. He even had a gun on his person, and he just got the fuck up out of there. Him and his wife, they crawled on the floor. He said they had to crawl over bodies to get out of there. And I mean, that just goes to show that even if you have a gun and someone starts shooting, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to shoot back. You know, you get in that fight or flight mode, and the majority of people are going to fight. They're going to run. And it's not that that's a bad thing, you know. The main objective is to make sure you and your loved ones are safe. And then, if you want to go and get other people, by all means, go do that. But nobody has to be a hero. That's what we have law enforcement and everything for. They get paid to do that. They choose to be put in those situations. I didn't choose to be put in the building where a guy was going to come in and start shooting. So you can't feel bad about yourself or get down on yourself because you didn't do as much as you think you could have. Because at that moment in time, the best thing I could think to do was run. You know, who really is going to fucking take off running towards the gunfire? Unless you got a death wish. I mean, some people might talk shit and be like, you should fucking try to go back and save people. But tell me where it says anywhere that if you're in a fucked up situation, you should try to get as many people out of that fucked up situation as you can, as long as you don't die. I mean, like I said, I thought that, you know, I used to work at my grandpa's gas station in tiny ass little town in Kansas. And I mean, I was like fourth, fifth grade running that by myself sometimes. And there was a bolt action 22 long range rifle that was like clothes hangered up underneath the counter. And I used to always think, you know, if someone came in and was like, had a gun and they're like, give me all the money. I always, you know, thought about how I'd be like, okay, let me get the key. And then I'd reach under there, get the rifle and shoot them. Fuck that, you know? I like to think that that's what I would do, but I guarantee I would have opened that bitch and gave him the money. I mean, I'm in fucking fifth grade. What the fuck do you expect me to do? But my grandpa, he was a G. He also had a motel and a restaurant, but the motel, some guy came in late at night and had a shotgun. And my grandpa, being a G, legit wrestled the motherfucker to try to get the shotgun. And to this day, probably, there's still a shotgun hole in the ceiling from where the shotgun went off when my grandpa was wrestling him. And my grandpa ended up getting the shotgun away from the guy and told him to get the fuck out. And as he was walking out, my grandma, for some reason, picked up a box of envelopes and fucking hit him on the head with it. And the guy just looked at her and it's like, Grandma, what the fuck are you doing? This guy literally came in with a shotgun and tried to rob you guys. You gonna hit him with some fucking envelopes? But I mean, kind of an insight on what my family's like, you know? It's crazy. So I mean, yeah. Life after a shooting is crazy, you know? I carry a gun on me pretty much everywhere I go now. I mean, I have one in my glove box in my car, just in case, you know, legally. I have one legally. If you can't own a gun, then you shouldn't own a gun. But I feel like every American should be allowed to at least own one gun, even if it's just, I have just a 22. It's a Ruger Wrangler 6-shot 22 pistol. You know, everyone should be allowed to at least have one gun for personal protection purposes. Because I guarantee if someone tried to come into a building and rob the place and everybody working there and the customers had a gun too, they'd probably think twice about what the fuck they're really trying to do. But that's just my own opinion. Yeah, I know some people are all for gun control. They think we shouldn't have guns. Well, fuck that, in my opinion. That is not how I feel. Yeah, guns can be used to kill people. But who's pulling the trigger, the gun or the person? Maybe you should have to take a psych test to see if you're physically and mentally capable to own and possess a gun. So, I mean, that's just, kind of how I feel. I feel like owning a gun should be not just a choice, but almost mandatory. I mean, if you take guns away, think about the crime rate versus if we issued every American a 22 pistol. I mean, it could even be a Jennings J22 pistol, just a little, pocket gun. And, some people are like, 22, that ain't gonna do shit. I got my 12 gauge buckshot. Well, yeah, that'll fucking blow someone to pieces. But in case you didn't know, the 22 was the preferred gun of the mafia. Because you could point blank shoot them in the head and it ain't gonna come out the other side. It's just gonna sit in there and scramble their fucking brains to mush. A fun fact. Not even if it's a fun fact, but it's a fact. And I don't think people should own guns just in case they have to kill someone. But 90% of the time, if someone's trying to break into your house and you point a gun at them and you tell them to get the fuck out, you don't have to pull the trigger. They're going to do what the fuck you say. But if you do point a gun, never point a gun unless you are prepared to pull the trigger. Because everybody's seen those movies where someone points a gun at someone and the person knows they're not going to do shit. They fucking, grab the gun and put it to their head and they're like, fucking do it. Shoot me. And they're like, that's what I thought. You ain't going to do shit. So yeah, that's a fact. Never point a gun at anyone or anything unless you are prepared to pull the trigger.
We're going to take a quick break and hear some messages from our sponsors. We'll be right back. Bitch! What up, what up? It's your boy, Georgie350, coming at you again with another ad. So, if you know me, you know that I do a lot of things. I weld, I do a podcast, I try to make rap songs, but I'm also a brand ambassador for clothing companies. Clothing companies that I believe are not only awesome clothes, but support a good message. And that's why, if you haven't heard of Reaper Apparel Company, you should definitely check them out. I'm going to go ahead and read this from their website. It's called Our Story, and it says, and I quote, "Hey, I am Dan, founder of Reaper. Reaper Apparel Company was born out of necessity, out of 2020 and the aftermath. The year 2020 became a reminder that every minute counts, even the hard ones. I battled severe anxiety and borderline depression, and I knew things had to change. I wasted so many moments in my life worrying about the future and what it holds. These are moments I can never get back. I made a commitment to be present and be the best version of myself every single day. I'm committed to live authentic, try new things, and find those that center me. Reaper is not only a brand, it's a complete life adjustment, a commitment to live your life most authentic way every single day." He goes on to say he watched his grandma look over his grandpa right after he passed away and tell him, "We really did it all. I did not realize at that time, but this put a fire so deep inside of me. I will never die with regret of things I didn't do. Go all out, try new things, be bold and brave. Happiness is a state of mind, and I choose to find what it means to me, and I hope Reaper can be an inspiration you need to find yours. I am Reaper. You are Reaper. We are Reaper." So go ahead, check them out, reaperapparelcompany.com. Use promo code Georgie350. And yeah, they're fucking badass. The dopest hat I have right now is from Reaper Apparel, and it's fucking awesome. So yeah, Reaper Apparel, check them out. They're awesome. Georgie350 out.
And yeah, I mean, it's crazy, you know. I live in Kansas. Kansas is pretty fucking a Republican state, you could say. They're hella behind the times. I mean, I guess you could say I'm not affiliated with any kind of political party. I think it doesn't matter who the fuck we get as a president or governors or whatever the fuck. They got an agenda that they're trying to follow, and it's going to happen regardless. So, I mean, that's that. So, I just believe unless the president is trying to straight up legalize marijuana, you ain't going to get my vote. If they're not going to try to keep kratom legal, they're not going to get my vote. And if they're trying to take away guns, they're definitely not going to get my fucking vote. But I might get a little bit off of the subject of life after a shooting and kind of transition into what my life has been like after the shooting to what my life's like now and with what I'm trying to do as far as my business. So I do have a podcast. It's available on all platforms. It's called Once Upon a 785, the dopest podcast in the motherfucking Midwest. I am the host, Georgie350. So I do podcasts. I have one rap song out right now. You can stream that on all platforms. My rap name at the time is Georgie Boy, Just Another Nobody. My song is called Middle of the Map. Go ahead, go check it out. Give me feedback. good or bad, I don't care. I like conductive criticism. You know, you ain't gonna learn if you don't ask people what they think. And I actually started my own business selling kratom. My business is Midwest Speciosa LLC. Check me out on Google. I'm working on the website right now. Midwest Speciosa LLC. Our motto is plants over prescriptions. Kratom is an all-natural leaf from Indonesia, and it has the same properties as opiates would. And I can't tell you that it has any kind of medical benefits because it is not regulated from the FDA. So I can't tell you that it does anything for you, but what I can tell you, what it does for me. So for me, when I take kratom, little backstory, there's like 4 different colors and so many different strains. I mean, it's getting to be like weed now with the amount of strains they have. But the main colors they have, there's 3 main colors. There's red, white, and green. But you can cure the red longer and get a yellow. So red, yellow, white, and red. And if you didn't know, kratom leaves come off of these big ass trees. Like I'm talking sometimes 30-foot tall trees. And they have a shitload of leaves. And the top leaves, which get the most sunlight, is the white. Green, they're in the middle. They don't get as much sunlight. And then red is at the very bottom. They get the least amount of sunlight. Normally, whites and greens are more uppity, more euphoric feeling. You know, they give you that kind of, you want to talk to people, you know, you're feeling good, you're fucking, you know, light on your feet. It's like you're gliding through, you know. And I mean, any kind of minor aches and pains, they're just totally alleviated and gone. I fucking love it. One of my favorite things about kratom is that it'll make you way better in the bedroom. I'm talking, you can turn 20 seconds into 20 minutes with just a few scoops. It increases your libido like a motherfucker. One of the strains is actually called Mang Da. Mang Da, if you translate that from Indonesia to English, it translates to pimp grade. So that's that. Me personally, I prefer to eat the white and green strains only. Anymore, I could care less about what the name is, because in my opinion, it doesn't matter the name. If the color is what it is, then that's what I go with. But I usually do like white in the morning, green in the afternoon, and then green in the evening, maybe. Sometimes I do white all day, sometimes I do green all day. And actually today and lately I've been doing a blend called Pink Lady, and it's just a pink. That's where they mix red and white, hence pink, you know. And they say the red is the most, what they say, I don't believe this, but they say it's the most opiate-like. They say it's the most downer. They say that it's the best for pain relief, which I'm a recovering addict. I was addicted to methamphetamine and pain pills, but pain pills were my DOC. I mean, I based my whole life around whether I could find pills or not. And so when I went to rehab and I got clean and I moved to a halfway house, and that is actually where I first heard about kratom, Because, you live in a halfway house. Half these motherfuckers just got out of prison. The other half these motherfuckers just got out of rehab. Some people, unlike me, they didn't go on their own free will. They were forced to go. So, do they want to get clean? Fuck no. What are they trying to do? Trying to get around the system and get fucked up. And that's where I heard about Kratom. People were talking about how there's this thing you can get at the gas station, and some people try to put it in the same category as like fucking K2 and Spice, but it's totally not the same. This is all natural. It's not chemical or anything like that. It's just a leaf. They ground up the leaf. It's in the same family as coffee and tea. That's right. Kratom is in the same family as coffee and tea. And I mean, for me, it makes me feel like $1,000,000 fucking bucks. I mean, there's nothing better than, feeling good. I don't know about you guys, but I don't like to be sore. I don't like to be tired. I get that's life and blah, blah, blah. But if you didn't have to feel tired, if you didn't have to feel sore, then why wouldn't you want to not feel that way? Another thing Kratom does for me is it also boosts your mood. It helped me get off of antidepressants, helped me get off of pain pills, helped me get off of benzos. You think right there, Lexapro, Xanax, Percocet, morphine. I did all the pills when it came to opiates. Well, I guess, and just pills in general. Why would I want to take all of those things when I could just take this one all-natural plant and live my life the way I want to and feel as good as I do now? So, for me, Kratom saved my life. I can honestly tell you I would either be dead or in jail had I not found out about this amazing plant. And I know there's still so many people out there that are struggling with addiction and they're stuck on pharmaceuticals and they don't know if there's ever going to be an end to it, whether it's ultimately probably going to be death or jail. But what if that didn't have to be how it ended? You could end it like me and try taking Kratom. And before you go and Google, go Google Kratom, there's going to be some haters that talk shit about it and say that it's bad for you. And let me just say this. Anything is bad if you do it too much. You can get addicted to anything. It doesn't have to be a drug. You can get addicted to masturbating. And that's a fucking fact. You can get addicted to lottery. And that's a fact. You can get addicted to picking your nose. Anything can turn from a bad habit to a problem in no time. So, with Kratom, can it be addicting? Absolutely. Just as addicting as, I kind of am addicted to flossing my teeth. I like to not have shit in between my teeth. So, I floss on the regular. Is it a bad habit? No, it's a habit. But it could turn into a bad habit. You don't need to floss 20 times a day. But, so back to Kratom. Yes, it can be addicting. It can go from a habit to a bad habit. And you could even, I guess you could say I am addicted to Kratom. But I look at it as, would I rather be taking this all natural leaf every day? Or would I rather go back to pharmaceutical soup and eat 4 or 5 different pills every day. Some prescribed, some not prescribed, you know? So I choose Kratom. And just like with prescriptions, most of them, they say you do it 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night. When I take Kratom, I do it no differently. I do it once in the morning, once at lunch, and once before supper time. I don't eat over a certain amount every day. I have a limit, and I don't surpass that limit. And I'm going to have to do another one of these and just talk deeper into Kratom because I fucking love Kratom. But if you want to check out, I did an episode of my podcast, Once Upon a 785, and the episode is called Georgia Boy and the Kratom Chronicles. And you can go ahead and you can listen to that, and that'll give you kind of a little more in-depth detail of Kratom in my journey and what it's did for me. And I mean, shit, you could just go check out my podcast. I'm getting ready to do my season finale before I start season 2. And I mean, I talk about a bunch of stuff on my podcast. I have a couple episodes about how social media is fucking horrible. And I have a love-hate relationship with social media. Because, I mean, social media can consume people. That's why I try to tell people that I'm not addicted to looking at TikToks. I'm addicted to making TikToks. Why would I want to sit there and watch somebody else's video and help them get money through monetization instead of just making my own videos and trying to get people to watch them? You know, everything I do, I try to do to make money. You know, I make music and I do this podcast because I believe it's fun. It's fun for me. But if I can make money off of it, then why the fuck would I not do that? You know, it's just like, I'm getting to the age now, I'm 33. I don't got time to do shit for free. You want my time? It's going to cost you. Now, that's not saying, you know, if someone hits me up and they want to hang out, I'm not going to be like, yeah, bro, you want to hang out for 2 hours? That's going to be about $35.94 plus tax. Fuck that. I ain't going to do that. But time is money. And the older you get, the faster time goes. I don't know about anyone else, but it just seems like it was just New Year's and now the school's almost out. You know, it's about to be summertime and it's like, what the fuck? Where has time went? And I mean, just like this shooting, it feels like yesterday that it happened, but it literally happened in 2016. That's 7 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 7 years ago. So 7 years ago, I was at work and getting ready to go through the second shooting of my life. You know, have 3 friends get shot. One of them died. It's horrible. You know, I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. And, you know, just to kind of maybe wrap things up a bit, you never know what somebody is going through. So your actions and the way you treat people, you got to really think about that because, you know, I'm not justifying what that guy did at all because what he did was fucking horrible. But I guarantee you he was going through something. And if someone had maybe just talked to him or, you know, asked him how he was doing, maybe they could have talked through it and this never even would have happened. Sometimes all people want is for someone to listen to them, to hear them out. Because if you don't, They could be the next motherfucker coming in your job with a fucking assault rifle. Now, I'm not saying you need to talk to everybody just because, and you shouldn't live in fear that someone's going to come in and shoot up your place of work or anywhere, as a matter of fact. I mean, you could be in a gas station just getting a drink and someone could come in and rob the place and they see you and fucking, no witnesses and bap, you're done. But you can't constantly live in fear of that, And I don't know what happens when you die, but I am 100% not a religious person. I am spiritual. I do believe in a God. I do believe in a creator of the universe. I don't believe in the Easter Bunny. I don't believe in Jesus. I don't believe in Santa Claus. But, the Bible does have some good points, good guidelines. Do I think it's all bullshit? No, not at all. But do I believe some of it is bullshit? Absolutely. I do. Just kind of like it's 2023. If you don't think the government is out to get you, then you're fucking wrong. If you didn't know that Google is a branch off the Department of Defense, then you're welcome, because it is. If you don't think that everything you do isn't being constantly monitored 24/7, then here's your sign. It is. A lot of people don't know that Tor browser, the Onion router, how you get into the dark web, which, fun fact, is not just all pedophiles and illegal drugs. Is that on there? Absolutely. Yeah. It's on the clear web, you fuck. It's literally everywhere. But Tor was actually invented by the Navy as a way for them to do undercover missions in other countries and go undetected. That's why Facebook has an onion site, because people in countries, say like China, they can't get on Facebook because their government sucks. So they get on the Tor browser and they go to facebook.com or facebook.onion. My apologies. And that's not the actual, it's like a whole bunch of shit. Facebook's probably in there somewhere, and then it's .onion. But I mean, in this day and age, anonymity is key. Because, I don't want people all up in my shit. I don't want people all up in my business. So, I'm getting way off track. My title is literally What Life is Like After a Shooting, and I'm talking about the fucking Tor browser and the dark web. But another fact, they actually have sites on the clear and the dark web that glorify people that do mass murders. And people were selling Cedric Ford, the guy who did the shooting in Hessen, Kansas, they were selling his clothes. At that plant that I worked at, Excel, we made Hustler and Big Dog lawnmowers. So we had like hoodies that said, Big Dog, red hoodies, and then we had like black hoodies with yellow letters that said Hustler. He had some Big Dog sweaters and like hoodies, and they were selling them online as serial killer memorabilia. And I mean, that's a thing. People do that. People paid fucking money for that shit. And it blows my mind that they glorify something like that. But that just shows you how fucked up our world is. How fucked up it really is out there. And I mean, it's just wild to me, that people are the way they are, they act the way they do. I mean, it's sad, honestly. But I'd like to thank everybody for listening. As of right now, all 19 of you. Fucking appreciate it very much. I'd like to thank you for listening to me on the Wisdom app. If you would, go ahead, go check out my podcast, Once Upon 785, available on Spotify and all podcast streaming platforms. Do me another solid. Go listen to my one song anywhere you can listen to music. Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud. My name is Georgie Boy, just another nobody. And also, if you'd like, go check out my TikTok. My TikTok is at Georgie350. Just go show me love. Like, support. I have a whole bunch of stuff that I could talk about. I haven't lived the craziest life, but I've lived a crazy life. And I don't know much, but what I do know, I'm more than willing to share. So that concludes today's topic. I hope you found this informative. The shooting in Heston, Kansas was a tragic event that affected the entire community and country. So I would just like to please, before we end this, let's take a moment to remember those who lost their lives and to those who were affected by the terrible act of violence. All right, thank you. And for that, thank you for listening. This was Once Upon a 785 on the Wisdom app. I'm your host, Georgie350. And I'll see you again. We don't have an outro, but I'll end this the way I end my podcast. Hit him with the outro, bitch. Thank you. Much love.
Middle of the map, can't swear I'm at. You can say I'm whack, it's just not a fact. Can't tell if I'm awake or I'm in a dream. I just know I'm geeked. And if you're still here, thank you for checking out the season finale of season 1. I'm your boy, Georgie350. And I hope you're excited for season 2. Hopefully a lot of things will be changing. I'll have a lot more guests, maybe some visual videos, and just stay tuned for some crazy shit, because this is the dopest podcast in the Midwest. I appreciate everyone that took the time to listen to this episode or this podcast in general. Check me out on the Wisdom app. Check out my TikTok, all my socials, Georgie350. Check out my music, Georgie Boy, Just Another Nobody. Song, Middle of the Map. And yeah, peace, love, and whatnot to everybody. Hope everyone's having a great day and a great year. Thank you. Season 2, coming soon. Bitch! Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on whatever platform you listen on. Bitch!